welcome to highlights of the 1992 Hungarian Grand Prix, brought to you by Mircoprose and GP2Joey. Round 11 of the season sees the visit to Hungoraring circuit, which, like Monte Carlo, is slow and twisting with fewer overtaking opportunities. Ferrari's Michael Andretti was the winner last time out in Germany after an incredible Grand Prix which saw championship rivals Nigel Mansell and Joey Davies clash for the third time in 2 races after their collision on lap 40, when Mansell's Williams failed to pull off the circuit with a blown engine before collecting the flying McLaren. In the driver's standings, it's still headed by Mansell, with a lead of 13 points over Davies, who is 2 ahead of teammate Michael Schumacher. Whilst in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren head Williams by 4 points, with Ferrari in 3rd and Benetton 4th. The fallout from Germany was nothing other than epic, as already with a suspension hanging over his head, the FIA found Mansell guilty of causing the accident and elected to ban him from Hungary. The situation naturally gave his Williams team a headache, who elected to try out IndyCar star Al Unser Jr., Lotus's Mika Hakkinen, Footwork's JJ Leto, and even Eric Comas after pressure from engine partner Renault. Whilst all impressed at Silverstone, news then broke that the one-up drive had been given to this year's Indy 500 champ Unser Jr., who is now set to join his former rival Michael Andretti on the F1 grid. Meantime, IndyCar team Newman Haas admitted that they had approached Mansell over joining them next year if he decides to leave Formula One, whilst Davies denied rumours the reason he was spotted in Italy was to invest in Andrea Sassetti's Andrea Moda team. As usual, Friday morning's pre-qualifying session was intense, with only 30 minutes for the 16 drivers required to set a time on the dusty and slippery track. In the end though, it was Eric Bernard who set the pace in the Larousse Peugeot, and the Frenchman was joined by his ever-impressive rookie teammate Alessandro Zanardi, who claimed second ahead of Fonmetal's Olivier Griard in third and the Andrea Moda of Alex Cappy in fourth, as all 3 teams progressed further into the race weekend, whilst their rivals were left disappointed and forced to vacate the paddock and head back home early. Expectations of Williams were low as the first qualifying session got underway on Friday afternoon, with Unser Jr. settling into his debut going 9th fastest, whilst ahead teammate Damon Hill pressed on and eventually claimed 3rd quickest. Down at Ferrari, things were not as rosy as both Senna and Andretti struggled on the high downforce track, claiming only 6th and 12th respectively, whilst at McLaren, Davies struggled with front-end grip, but Schumacher was in great form, going fastest and looking set to end up on the provisional pole. That was until Brundle emerged in the Benetton and unexpectedly flew to the top of the timing screens, with only seconds remaining to steal it from under the German's nose. It was an inspired lap which many felt might not be challenged the following day. When the cars hit the track at 2 o'clock on Saturday, Senna's bad luck continued, with the Brazilian unable to improve and getting held up by back markers. For McLaren there was hope as Schumacher impressed once more, but try as he might, the German was unable to find the speed needed to better Brundle's time 24 hours earlier, and so it looked as if the pole would be going Benetton's way. My, how the tables can turn, as with only 7 minutes left in the session, from nowhere, Davies became the only driver to dip below the 1:16 barrier to snatch the pole by over 0.8 of a second. Whilst at the back there were cheers as both Andrea Moda's cars made the 26-car field, and it was the Tyrrell of Stefano Modena and the Fonmetal of Andrea De Cesaris who both failed to qualify. Afterwards, Davies thanked his mechanics for turning the setup of his car around and promised he was going all out for the win and to further close the gap to the absent Mansell in the championship. Brundle admitted he was shocked to see the performance of Davies, but hoped that his drive would serve him well for the race, while Schumacher questioned the gap to his teammate and promised he would be seeking answers from McLaren in the debrief. Down at Ferrari, hope was that their engine power advantage would be enough for Senna and Andretti to get off the line well and figure in the race. Without doubt though, the biggest cheers were for Andrea Moda, who, having made the race, partied late into the night, with boss Andrea Sassetti even getting arrested for apparent drug possession in a nightclub in Budapest. So it's Joey Davies and Martin Brundle on the front row, with Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill on row 2. Row 3 is Johnny Herbert and Ayrton Senna. Row 4 is Alain Prost and Jean Alesi. Row 5 is Unser Jr. and Gerhard Berger. Row 6 is Mika Häkkinen and Mark Blundell. Row 7 is Michael Andretti and Riccardo Patrese. Row 8 is Heinz-Harald Frentzen and Derek Warwick. Row 9 is JJ Leto and Eric Bernard. Row 10 is Carl Wendinger and Pierluigi Martini. Row 11 is Gianni Morbidelli and Alessandro Zanardi. Row 12 is Satoru Nakajima and Olivier Griard. And at the back it's Perry McCarthy and Alex Caffey. The two Andrea motor cars pull up on the last grid slots. As the red lights come on, the engine revs rise, and it's go, go, go! It's a good start from Davies away from the pole position, with Brundle holding second, with Damon in third and Schumacher's in fourth place. But on the run down to the first turn, it's Davies ahead of Schumacher. So Schumacher's challenging Brundle on the inside as Brundle tries to go around the outside, and he almost loses it. He's over the curbing in the Benetton, and he's dropped down from second to fourth place as Damon Hill sneaks it up the inside. And just behind them, it's Senna in fifth, with Gerhard Berger up into sixth from 10th on the grid. A fantastic start from the Austrian in the Joas Porsche. But back up front, it's Davies ahead of Schumacher, with Hill in third, it's Brundle fourth, Senna fifth, Gerhard Berger in sixth, it's Sean Alesi in seventh, Alonso Jr. in his first Grand Prix, he's up to eighth, it's Johnny Herbert, he slipped back to ninth, with Alain Prost also dropping back into 10th position. So it's not a good start for the four-time world champion. But Davies is just still leading Michael Schumacher as they come through the right-hander, the tight second-gear corner. They're full throttle now going through the left-hander with Damon Hill. He's got his mirrors full of Brundle's Benetton. As they come through the right-hander, down towards the fiddly chicane through the right, through the left they come. It's still Davies, and he's only got a tenth of a second lead over Schumacher. With Hill's 1.1 seconds further back, with Berger chasing Senna's Ferrari. So Senna's still holding ground in fifth place, looking to close up the gap on Brundle as Davies leads them out of the final turn for the first time. As they come thundering over the line, it's Davies with a 0.2 of a second lead over Schumacher, as Schumacher looks to make the move on the inside, and he's through. So Schumacher takes the lead away from his teammate, and Senna moves up into fourth place. He's gone ahead of Martin Brundle, who had an absolutely appalling final corner as Davies looks to make another move on Schumacher. He tries to wrestle the lead back as we go back to the start with Davies on board.
And initially a very good getaway from Davies there. He made a very rare good start in the McLaren, thundering all the way down to the first turn. He covers the inside line well, and then Brundle fancies his chances around the outside there, and Brundle just overestimated his capabilities in the Benetton on cold tyres, and away he went. But it was a decent start from all the drivers.
As we ride on board with Alex Caffey in the Andrea motor, it's been a fantastic start for the team, who've managed to get both cars into the race for this weekend, with Davies still hounding Schumacher, and the gap on lap 6 is half a second at the front, and Damon Hill is leading the train behind them, with Senna and Brundle in close proximity. But they are over 4 seconds away as Davies is still trying to hound after Schumacher. Is he going to be able to find a way past?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Joey Davies is just keeping his tyres fresh for the moment, because he's definitely had more pace than Schumacher.
And Bernard's pulling over in the LaRousse Pasha. So Bernard's pulling off. He's got some sort of a failure in the LaRousse, but is Davies going to be able to close up the gap to Schumacher up the front? It's 0.4 of a second, and Davies looks to have a look on the inside. Is he going to make it through? He can't. Schumacher's just covering the line, but I think that Davies is certainly giving him a good run for his money.
As they come over the line now, is Davies going to make the move, or is he just going to sit in behind now? As he pulls out from behind his teammate, he makes the lunge, but he can't do it. Schumacher's supremely on the brakes there, just covering the inside line. But I'm pretty sure that Davies is just looking after his tyres. He's waiting for their first stop, and then he's going to try and see if he can put in a couple of bank laps and get the jump on his teammate. But it's been a terrific start from the two McLarens, who are over 7 seconds now, almost in front.
As Schumacher's looking to come up behind one of the Minardis there. That's Pierluigi Martini, I think.
No, that's Gianni Morbidelli.
It's Morbidelli. So Schumacher's going to try and make the lunge on the inside, and Davies is going to try and follow as he follows his teammate around the final corner. And spin! Davies, he pirouettes. He's out of the race.
He's got a suspension failure. That's a left rear suspension failure.
It's a suspension failure, Davies. He's still trying to get the car going, but he's going to be out of the race. He's going to have no choice but to park it. Sensation here in Hungary. And Davies is out of the Grand Prix, a race that he very much wanted to win, with Nigel Mansell missing after he's getting his one race ban. Davies was absolutely hopeful that he was going to get the 10 points for the race win and close the gap to 3 points to Mansell in the championship. But that's not going to happen because he's out. Let's have a look at the replay.
Very unusual technical failure here from the McLaren team as Davies just rounds the corner, and you can just see it there. The rear end just lights up and he's spinning round, and there's absolutely nothing that he can do. As we look on board now with Morbidelli's Minardi, we can see that Schumacher's gone through. Davies just pirouettes out. There's absolutely nothing he can do. He's lost full control of the car, and into the barrier he goes.
And Caffey! Caffey's trying to make the move on his teammate Perry McCarthy. And he's through, so that's the battle at the back of the field. But fantastic to see the two Italian cars in the race. But Schumacher now, he's got a 6.1 second lead over Hill, with Senna 6.8 seconds further away, and Martin Brundle's only 2/10 behind. And this is a fantastic race so far as Damon Hill comes across the line, and he's absolutely pushing as hard as he can, and Brundle's into the pits. Jonathan Palmer.
Yes, Martin Brundle's into the pit, so it's a good stop for the Benetton team. It's nice and clean. He's down and he's back out again. So it's a good stop for the Benetton boys.
And Schumacher! As Herbert comes into the pits, Schumacher suddenly slowing, and Damon Hill has gone into the lead, and Senna's up into second. And Schumacher, where Eric Bernard went off earlier, he's had to pull the McLaren over, and he too, by the looks of it, has got a suspension failure. My goodness me, what a development. Schumacher is out of the Grand Prix.
That's most unusual to see both the McLarens out with what looks like very similar issues there, as we see JJ Leto, who certainly impressed in the Williams last week when he drove in the Williams team. And here's Jean Lacey into the pits.
And Lacey's coming into the pits, and Ayrton Senna is in, with Damon Hill in, so all three of them have made a stop at the same time. And where is this going to lead Martin Brundle? As Warwick tries to get past one of the Lotuses there for 12th position. But Martin Brundle is out. He's going to be in the lead. Hill's come out of the pits with Senna, and Damon Hill has lost position to Senna, as we see Prost going through underneath Alonso Jr. So Alonso Jr. started 9th today, and he's up into 6th position. And that's Caffey pulling over in the Andrea Moda, and he's out. Heartbreak for the Italian team as Alex Caffey retires, perhaps unsurprisingly. But what's happening to Perry McCarthy? Is he still in the Grand Prix?
Yes, he's very much still in the Grand Prix, as we see Martin Brundle now 8.2 seconds in the lead with Gerhard Berger. Berger all over the gearbox of Alonso Jr. Fantastic drive from Alonso Jr. And I can only hope that Williams have certainly given him a very good race strategy today to take full advantage of it. As we see Prost going past JJ Leto there for 9th position.
Fantastic to see JJ Leto up in 10th position. And Berger takes the lunge underneath Alonso Jr. And he's through. Alonso Jr., he's not done too bad a replacement job for Nigel Mansell this weekend, but Gerhard Berger is through, and it's back up run, it's Brundle ahead of Senna, who's 9.5 seconds away from his former Formula 3 rival, with Damon Hill in 3rd, and Shauna Lacey is up into 4th place in the Ligier. Fantastic stuff. And Alonso Jr.'s into the pits. Jonathan Palmer.
Yes, Alonso Jr. is into the pits to make his one and only tyre stop, I think. It looks as though Williams are only going for the one-stop strategy.
I'm sorry, I've got to interrupt myself, because Alesi is suddenly slowing, and he too seems to be pulling over. And Andretti spin! Andretti loses the Ferrari as he tries to take avoiding action of Sean Alesi's retiring Ligier. And Michael Andretti, he is absolutely miles down the grid order. He's in 13th position. It's a far cry from his performance 2 weeks ago in Hockenheim when he took the victory. He's been absolutely nowhere all weekend, and this has not been a good advertisement for his capabilities. And Senna's into the pits for his 2nd stop.
Yes, the Ferrari team, fresh from the shock of Andretti's retirement, they've seen Ayrton Senna coming in now. So Senna's in. All 4 tyres are changed. Supremely done by the Ferrari boys, and he's back out again. And Damon Hill's coming in. So Damon Hill's in as well in the Williams to make his 2nd stop. And it's a good stop. It's 7.9 seconds, so it's a couple of seconds faster than Ferrari managed for Senna, as Damon Hill is exiting the pits now.
And Martin Brundle is still in the lead, but Senna's still ahead of Damon Hill. As Brundle's into the pits, he makes his final pit stop. But Brundle, is he going to emerge? He's 35 seconds to the good, with Andretti still in 9th position now. And Brundle, this is what we want to see at the front, because Senna, he was 35 seconds behind. Is he going to be able to close up the gap to Brundle? By my reckoning, he's going to be at least 10 seconds to the good.
Yes, I think it's going to be very interesting now. Brundle, he's going to come out, I'm pretty sure, ahead of Ayrton Senna, and there he is. So Martin Brundle with an absolutely superb stop from the Benetton team there. He's got a decent lead over Senna in second place, with Damon Hill in third and Gerhard Berger performing miracles in the Joas Porsche. In fourth position with Johnny Herbert as Hunter Jr. slips it up to the inside of Pierluigi Martini's Minardi, and Alain Prost is in sixth place with Hunter Jr. in seventh. JJ Leto a fine sterling job in 8th position now, with Michael Andretti somehow making a recovery up into 8th position now as JJ Leto slips further back, having been lapped, with Derek Warwick in the sister footwork now up into 9th place. But Johnny Herbert's into the pits from 5th position in the Benetton. But what is happening up at the front is Senna actually closing the gap on Martin Brundle. He's not. But further back down the field, that's Derek Warwick pulling over yet again in the footwork, and he is out. There's smoke billowing out of the back of the footwork. Derek Warwick retires from the Grand Prix, but Leto is still going. And that's a red car. Is it a Ferrari? It's Andretti. My goodness me. Michael Andretti retires from 8th position. But Alonso Jr. now, he's got his mirrors full of Johnny Herbert's Benetton. Alonso Jr.'s absolutely fighting to keep that 6th position, but Herbert goes through. Fantastic. Yes, phenomenal pass there from Johnny Herbert. I think that he took Hunter Jr. completely by surprise. And Brundle! He's off! He's off! My goodness me, he's across the gravel trap. He's back onto the circuit and he's lost the entire front section of his Benetton with only 16 laps to go. My goodness me. Martin Brundle, he's simply made a mistake, that looks like. He's going to have to come into the pits. Yes, he's going to have to come in and repair the front nose on that car.
Yes, Martin Brundle's come in, and then I think that's going to mean that Senna, they're having a little bit of difficulty there trying to get the car lifted up off the ground, and they've done it. He's back down, they've changed the tyres, and he's back out again.
But Senna's into the lead. Fantastic. Senna, he started in 6th position, and all the luck has been with him so far as Hakkinen comes into the pits from 10th position. But Senna is in the lead. He's got Damon Hill 3 seconds further back, and Brundle, he's 9.3 seconds, but he is on fresh tyres. He's going to have the bit between his teeth. There he is in the Benetton. Is Martin Brundle going to be able to catch up to Damon Hill, let alone Ayrton Senna? He's 9 seconds away. There's only 12 laps to go. This is going to be a sensational finish.
This is going to be quite extraordinary as we see Karl Wendiger trying to get out of the way of his fellow Austrian Gerhard Berger there, as Berger goes through with Pierluigi Martini yet again in the Minardi trying to find his way through. But Martin Brundle now, he's only 6 seconds away. So Brundle, you can see him now behind Damon Hill. He's catching the Williams hand over fist. Exciting times in the Benetton.
Fantastic to see as Senna comes out of the corner. Senna's got a 3.3 second lead over Hill, but Martin Brundle is catching. This is sensational as they come across the line for the 70th time. Brundle pulls out on the inside and he's through. So Martin Brundle wrestles second place away from Damon Hill, who didn't put up much of a fight. And I've got to say, I think that's very good driving from Damon Hill. He wasn't going to be able to keep Brundle behind him, but Damon Hill just wants to get that first podium for Williams. Let's not forget, this is only his 3rd Grand Prix for the team after his switch from Jordan. But we're back up front now, and Brundle is with Senna. Is he going to be able to do anything about it? It's the old Formula 3 rivals. They're getting a chance to rekindle their relationship.
Well, this is going to be fascinating because you've got all the power and all the grunt from the Ferrari V12 against the V6 of the Ford engine in the back of the Benetton. Is Martin Brundle going to be able to do anything to get past Ayrton Senna?
Well, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it, because you can be damn sure that Senna is going to make his Ferrari almost as wide as the track as they come through the left-hander. Senna covers the inside line into the right-hander and he covers it off, and there's nothing that Brundle can do. He's 0.2 of a second away. He's driven gallantly since his mistake to close the gap up, but he's got past Damon Hill, and this is the final lap. They've only got a few corners to go, and Senna's just got to keep Brundle's Benetton behind him for a few more corners now as they come under heavy braking now for the left-hander. There's just 2 more corners to go. Brundle, he's going to be feeling the frustration as Ayrton Senna leads them into the final turn for the 77th and final time. He leads them, he powers out of it, and Ayrton Senna is across the line to win his first Grand Prix of the season. Fantastic Grand Prix. What a performance from Senna. Unbelievable scenes in Hungary as the Tifosi go crazy. Senna's won his first Grand Prix of the year with Brundle a fine second. Damon Hill a brilliant third with Berger fourth, Prost fifth, Johnny Herbert takes the final points paid position in 6th position, and Perry McCarthy powers out of the final turn in 15th position, and he's across the line. But what a drive from Ayrton Senna! It's hard to fathom that Senna has not won a race since Germany last year, but the Brazilian held off Brundle gallantly at the end after the Briton threw the win away. Taking his first career podium, Hill drove brilliantly to 3rd ahead of an impressive Berger, whilst Prost finished a race for once on his way to 5th, ahead of Herbert, who took the final point for 6th, which meant only 7th for debutant Hunter Jr., who was unable to show his talent courtesy of a poor one-stop strategy from Williams. Others who impressed were Leto in 8th, and without doubt McCarthy, who somehow finished in the Andrea Moda and did so in 15th place. On the podium, Senna sprayed the champagne with delight and thanked God for his helping hand at getting the win. A dejected Brundle rued his costly mistake, praised Senna for his defensive skills and apologised to his Benetton team, whilst Hill was elated with a first visit to the podium in only his 3rd race for Williams. Elsewhere, Davies admitted his disappointment in retiring, whilst teammate Schumacher again admitted to feeling let down by McLaren once more. And Hunter Jr. was grateful to Williams for giving him his debut, but said the team had got it wrong on strategy. In the drivers' standings, nothing changes at the top, with Mansell holding a 13-point lead over Davies, with Schumacher in 3rd. But Senna's win sees him only 18 points adrift now in 4th, with Brundle moving into 5th. In the Constructors' Championship, Williams and McLaren are now tied on 78 points, with the former leading the way after winning more races, as Ferrari continue their resurgence in 3rd, only 28 points off the front two on 53 points. Next up is arguably the greatest circuit of them all, Spa-Francorchamps, where Mansell won last year. The championship leader has now served his one-race ban and is set to return to the Ardennes, but will he strike gold for the 2nd year in a row and get his championship quest back on track? Will Davies, Schumacher and McLaren make up for their DNFs in Hungary? Can Senna win again for Ferrari? Only time will tell, but it promises to be another cracking race. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for round 12 of the 1992 Formula 1 World Championship and the Belgian Grand Prix.